Yeah, but I got my braces off, and it doesn't look bad. It just I look like SpongeBob. Oh, now I have to get new headshots. Oh, this is terrible. Enough about that. I finished watching The Residence, which The Residence, if you don't know, this is spoilers for all of the episodes. So, rundown. There's this man in the White House. His name is A.B. A.B. Weiler? A.B. Winter? A.B. Winter. Webler. Well, it doesn't matter. Again, bad with names. A.B. So A.B. is the chief usher in the White House. There's a woman that works under there. There's a woman that works under him. She is the assistant usher, and he was gonna retire, but then he's like, gets in the elevator with her, and he's like, I'm really stressed, and she's like, oh, well, at least in a month or two you're gonna be sipping margaritas in Hawaii, and he's like, well, I can't leave the house like this. So she starts tweaking the fuck out because she was expecting a promotion. She does not get that promotion. She did not get that promotion. So, moving forward, everybody, she doesn't see AB for a while. This other girl is this assistant, and not assistant. She makes sure all of the charts are kept, where lets all the people, like, knows how many people is in the event. That's her. That's what she does. Her name is Lily. Lily Schumacher. Lily Schumacher goes around, and she is looking for AB everywhere. I mean everywhere. She is like, hey, have you seen where AB is? Blah blah blah. There is this waiter while the assistant usher is walking out of the elevator. She sees this waitress, and the waitress is like, hey, where's AB? Because she's bringing up a bottle of vodka all the way to the third floor. Third and second floors are off limits. That's what she says. She said, you can't go upstairs. That's off limits. And then she's like, where's AB? And she's like, I don't know, but there's been an incident. She knows what the incident is. They go upstairs. She's like, what's going on? Why is there a bunch of men up here? Where's AB? And then she's like panicking, throwing a fit, yelling at these men. They move aside. A.B. Winter, dead on the floor. So, now, who done it? Let's figure this out as a crew. They get a detective, consulting detective, Sherlock Holmes. Not Sherlock Holmes. Her name is Cordelia Cupp, and I love Cordelia so very much. 1, I love the actress. 2, she ate that shit down. 3, oh my god, she's such a silly guy. 4, she's very pretty. Oh my god, I love her lots. She's literally a loser, but she's a great detective. But just, I love her so very much, and it touches my soul that I'm not sure she's the main character, but I'm pretty sure she's the main character is what I'm trying to say here. But women leads, we need more of those strong women leads who don't take shit from men. We need more of those in the media, and that is Cordelia Cupp. Okay, so Cordelia, right? She gets there, she's looking around, she's like, okay, so where's the body? Why is there a lot of men in here? There's so many men. So many men. Another man comes. Why is there another one? She's looking at the body. Everybody, some man, Harry Hollinger, quick to say that it's a suicide. She's like, why would it be a suicide? He said that a little too quick. So, she sees his wrists are slashed. There's a suicide note. But what they don't see is that there's poison in his mouth, that there's blood on his shirt that isn't his, because, I don't know, and then she's like, well, I don't think it's a suicide. Who else was up here? They go down, and, well, she actually argues with Harry Hollinger for a while. And who wouldn't, because Harry Hollinger is quite the fella. Anyways. But then she is like, okay, well, let's go figure this out. She interviews a waiter. She interviews everybody, but these are the people that are like most important, I guess. She interviews a waiter, some important Australian guy. The waiter, important Australian guy. Okay, so the waiter is the drunk lady. Important Australian guy interviews the chef, the pastry chef, she just interviews everybody in the White House, but these are the most important people. Who else? She interviews the engineer. I think I already said that, though. She interviews Trip, which is the president's husband, or the president's brother. Interviews the president's husband. Interviews Harry Hollinger, obviously. But anyways, throughout the entire thing, if I can... Okay, let's figure this out. Let's look at the Netflix thing, because I kind of don't remember what happened in the first few episodes. Vaguely remember it. And that's the thing that she talks about, actually. She's like, you know how people usually, like, when they say they remember the conversation that they had, like, if I were to say, I remember the conversation I had with you, I wouldn't just say, oh, I remember it was in the Oval Office, oh, I remember this, oh, I remember that. I mean, I remember every single word that you said and how you said them. Okay, so The Fall of the House of Usher, that is an Edgar Allan Poe reference. Has to be. Okay, so at the Continental hearing, the story of the mysterious house death and the brilliant detective hired to crack the case begins to unfold. The second episode, from celebrities and cabinet members to plumbers and pastry chefs, everyone is hot on this is the hot seat as Cordelia conducts interviews. The third episode, Knives Out, shimmering conflicts in the White House offers Cordelia a delicious opportunity to uncover clues. The last of Sheila. Sheila is a butler, and she's risen from Waffle House to the White House, and her behavior at the state dinner arouses suspicion. So, okay, here's the thing with Sheila. So Sheila's the drunk waiter I was talking about. Basically what happened was, she's in the White House, she's serving, okay, her entire story, she got taken off the floor. She really likes being on the floor because, one, there's this woman who, it was the last woman who was the first lady. It was the ex-first lady, okay? She's out there, she's not working, but her story is that she was working and having a good time. So Lily is the person who made the seating chart. She made 15 seating charts. Nobody knew where to sit, but she was switching people around. Okay, the entire state dinner, she's switching people around. Okay, so there's an empty seat. There's an empty seat next to this woman who conveniently really likes one of the butlers. She comes and she's like, hey, can you sit down with me? How are you going to ignore the last first lady? So she sits down. She just starts drinking with them. AB comes over, takes her off the floor. She gets really angry and starts yelling at AB, right? Here's why everybody that night argued with AB. So she's like, well, you can't take me off the floor. What the fuck did I do? And then he's like, you're drinking with the guests, and they're screaming at each other. And here's the thing about AB Winter. He always made sure that conversations happened between closed doors, but not Sheila. Sheila decided to have it in front of the pastry chefs and the chef and a few other people in the room. So she's yelling, and he's like, meet me in my office. He's like, what? She's like, well, shit. Because he's like, meet me in my office in the morning. And he's like, well, shit. She's like, well, shit, I'm gonna get fired. And she's like, I can't get fired. I got here I went from working at Waffle House at 16 to working here. I can't fucking get fired. So she is talking to the engineer. She's talking to this guy. I don't remember what his name is, but I'm pretty sure he's another butler. 100%. But he's like, yeah, Sheila was really angry and said, something about, it wasn't something specifically about killing him, but it was, he can't fire me if he's not here anymore. Which basically is like, I'm gonna kill him, but what she meant was, oh, I'm gonna get him fired. And then that was Sheila's entire story. But she's like, oh, I only went up to the third, I think it was the third floor. I only went up to the third floor once. She's like, I only went up there once, and that was to bring Miss Cox a thing. And then throughout the story, we unfold that she went up there 2 or 3 times. I'm pretty sure it was 2, but I can't explain why. I don't remember. But first time, she brought up just vodka. She was like, well, shit. And then she needs a glass. So she sets the thing down, goes back downstairs with an empty tray, gets a glass, comes back up. She drinks all of the vodka. And then she's like, well, damn it. Now I don't have vodka. So she goes back downstairs to go get vodka and a new glass. Then on the way back upstairs, that's when the first lady from the beginning comes and she's like, "What are you doing? You can't go upstairs. There's been an incident." And she's like, "What incident?" So Miss Cox never received her vodka. Right. You know who else was in the room during the murder? The pastry chef. Not during the murder. So here's the thing about that. The pastry chef, not the pastry chef, it was the chef. No, he was the pastry chef. I'm pretty sure. It was the guy, not the girl. It was the guy. He's a chef. He works in the shop. He does something down there. Anyways, but basically, throughout the entire thing, he's like explaining how at first he's like, "Oh no, I've never been in there," and he's like, "Then why?" And then she's like, "Well, then why were your knives in there?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know." And what had happened was, so basically, I'm gonna tell what happened instead of the entire ins and outs of how she figured that out, that they were lying. So he's like, "Okay, so I went in the game room." And she's like, "Well, where was the knife? On the left hand or the right hand?" And he's like, "On the left." And she's like, "Then you wouldn't have hit the game table and the chalk wouldn't have fallen on your back." And he's like, "On the right." And then so when he walked in, he saw that Winter was dead on the floor. He started freaking out because he saw the knife, and he was like, "Oh shit, that's my knife. Somebody's gonna frame me. That's my knife." And he also, again, back to suicide note, so he grabs his knife. He goes to wash it off and shit. He puts his knife in a thing. It's a very, very, very fancy and expensive knife. He puts it in a box. He goes downstairs all the way to the basement to the incinerator. Here's the thing. He never goes downstairs. He doesn't know that that incinerator does not work. One of the, I think it was a maid or another butler, but they're like, "Oh, he don't know, but that incinerator do not work. Has not worked for the past 2 years." Cordelia goes, opens it, brings the knife to him. He's like, "What the fuck is this about, buddy?" So he's like, "Oh, well, what had happened was I went in there, I didn't want them to frame me, so I took my knife back, and here's my knife." But here's the thing. He was also arguing with AB, and so was the other chef, the girl. What her story was, she can't really be guilty, I think. I don't know. Like, they were all technically guilty, but she was arguing with AB, as she usually does, and she's like, "I am going to kill you," in front of everybody. And she's like, bam, broken glass, there's a broken glass, "I am going to kill you if blah, blah, blah." And then, that was her argument. But during the entire time that AB would have been dying, she was having sex with an Australian man. Oh, my dad just left. Did he? Yeah, he did. Anyways, but, then she goes to interview a gardener. And she goes in there, and the gardener goes in there, flips on a switch. No, the gardener goes in there, flips down a switch. The switch doesn't work anyways. Why is it flipped up? So she walks over to another switch, flips it up. She walks around. Everything is kind of changed around. She moves where the phone is. She moves it slightly over where it's supposed to be. She puts things back where they were already supposed to be. And she's like, "Yeah, I really wanted to be a park ranger at this place." And Cordelia's like, "You'll get there one day." And they're having this cute little bond, and I love that for them. They're so silly. Anyways, but then Cordelia's like, "Okay, that's all." And then she's like, "Actually, wait. So we walked in, you flipped that switch down. That switch obviously is not supposed to be up. You were going around, moving things around, and you don't know what's off about that shelf, but something's missing." And she's like, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And then they're like having this cute little moment, and I love them so very much. But anyways, and she's like, "I'm just that good, I fear." And then she just leaves. But and then she's, well, not leaves, but she's like talking to her, and she's like, "Okay, so somebody was clearly here before that wasn't supposed to be in there, and they didn't know the way around the place." So that like wiped out like a few suspects, but she doesn't really have suspects. Not really. It didn't even wipe out anybody, I don't think. But and then she goes under the cedar, like some tree. I don't think it was a cedar tree. I think I'm wrong. But she goes under there, and she sees a cigarette. That cigarette belongs to Sheila, because she sees Sheila's lipstick on it. And then she goes to find Sheila. Sheila tells her whole 3 times up and down the stairs thing, and she just tells her that she saw somebody across the street, across the hallway. This is really long. She says she sees somebody across the hallway when she was going upstairs to, like, give Miss Cox her drink the second time. She couldn't see who it was, but it was somebody. This random man got grouped in with a bunch of Australians because he had on a tie. They had on a tie. He went and followed them, and they went into a pub. As they're leaving, they didn't pay their tab, so this guy is just like, well, shit. This bartender's yelling at me. The Australians are yelling at him to chop, let's go. So he runs after the Australians. He goes in a car. He ends up where? In the White House. This mysterious guy does not talk all night. Why? Because he thinks that he needs to fake an Australian accent, so he's pretty quiet. He goes to the calligrapher, which there's something wrong with the calligrapher that night. The calligrapher could not write proper. So he tells him the name Larry. He writes down Ficklefur something. He hands it to him. He's like, well, okay. Puts it down, sits down, doesn't say anything. And then he goes upstairs. He sees somebody dragging a dead body. This is what they learned and found out in court when they found the guy, and they were like, hey, the mysterious third person who was at the White House, please come forward. And he comes. He's like, well, I don't know. And then he's like, okay, I admit it. I saw somebody dragging a dead body down the hallway. This was the plumber, not the plumber, the engineer that was supposed to be plumbing. That's important. He walks over. He tells this guy, you need to get out of here. He goes downstairs, down the staff exits, leaves, dips, just gone, okay? Because nobody was supposed to be, no, that was before. Okay, moving forward. So then there's this famous lady, I don't know her name, but she's a singer, and there's Hugh Jackman. So Hugh Jackman and famous lady really want to go to bed because Cordelia Cupp, the entirety of her being there, she held everybody captive in the White House. Nobody was allowed to leave, okay? So then she's like, well, that's really unfortunate. No, you can't go sleep in the Lincoln bedroom like you were promised. That's a crime scene. And she's like, well, I thought that was the third floor. Or it's either the second or third floor, but I'm pretty sure it's the third floor that the crime scene happened on. The Lincoln bedroom is on the second floor. And she's like, I don't care, no. And then the one random butler who's a big fan of her and Hugh Jackman lets them into the rooms. And then the lady comes out and she's like, there's blood in the Lincoln bedroom. And she's like, why were you in the Lincoln bedroom? I told you not to be in there anyways. And she's like, he let me in. So anyways, there's blood in the Lincoln bedroom. That's another and so that confirms that Cordelia thinks that he was dragged somewhere. And she's like, well, she doesn't know where he's dragged from, but she knows that he's dragged from somewhere. So the rooms that we have at the end of the show where he's dragged from is the yellow oval room. There's the yellow oval room, there's the Lincoln bedroom, there's the game room, and there's staff exits, which are these push open doors. Because they're in the walls, they push it, and then the door opens, and then it's like a stairway. So she goes in there, she's looking around, she's like, huh. So on the night of the murder, she's looking at the paintings on the wall, and she has a really good memory, which is great for her because I would not have remembered that, I'm not gonna lie. She goes in there, she's like, and then so let's get through the fact that she got off the case, and she went to go study birds in another, like, country or something for a while. So what had happened was, she's solving the case, she's solving the murder, she's whatever, doing her thing. She's talking to the chief that she has a lot of trust in, because that's just like her homeboy with a lot of cases, okay? And she's sitting there, she's like, yeah, I don't know, I'm pretty close to opening this case, like, I'm pretty close to solving it. And he's like, well, I mean, if you crack this case, then I get fired. If you don't, then I don't. But I want you to do whatever you feel best. Not in a way that it's like, oh, I'm trying to manipulate you into letting me keep my job, because I'm going to get fired anyways at some point. Might as well be now. Might as well with you cracking a case that you're really into. And she's like, then call it off. I don't want to get you fired. Call it off, man. So he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I don't want you getting fired. He goes, calls off the case, everybody leaves. They're all angry with Cordelia. Cordelia goes to another country to, literally go birdwatch. She asks for a bag of things, as she always does. She sets it down, and she's like, And no, she asked for bags of things. This woman comes up, she sets it down gently. And Cordelia's like, why did you set that down gently? And she's under the assumption that there's like an electronic in there. She's like, well, if there was one, then you would have made me take it back, and I'm not carrying anything else heavy up this mountain, down this mountain. So she's like, okay, fair bet. The woman picks it up, drops it, and she's like, there. Probably broke a few lollipops, but, you know, she leaves. Cordelia is looking for birds. She looks down at the ground from her little tree area. She sees a box. She picks up the box, she brings it up. It's electronics. It's a solar panel. You know the things in the sky? Not in the sky. They orbit the atmosphere, but they're human-made, and you can make satellite. It's not a satellite. It is. It's a satellite phone. So it's one of those, and it's a laptop. She then watches the court case of the guy who was like the third man who snuck into the White House with the Australians. And she's texting this guy who texts this other guy, telling him to, like, basically what questions to ask. Anyways, but she sees this bird that she's been looking for a while, like a long while. And she then sits under a blanket, which this is very important to me because she's such a cutie patootie. Oh, I love her so much. And she's just sitting there and she's just typing away and she's like, I have to be quiet. The bird I'm looking for is here. And then when she leaves, the bird that she was looking for sits right between where her feet would have been. I would have been so mad. Anyways, she's back on the case. She goes to the White House. She's looking all around, figuring out clues again, blah, 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 figuring out that the engineer and another maid that nobody had beef with, AB did not have beef with this maid. Maid was yelling. She was getting yelled at by AB because she basically lied on her resume getting there that she didn't have any criminal record, okay? Never before. So she did. And basically, AB was like, well, I have to see you in my office in the morning. So, because he had gotten a call. That call was from her ex. So, then she goes out into the staff hallway. She's freaking out, having a little panic attack. Then the engineer walks in and is like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because they're having, like, this kind of, like, relationship kind of thing. And she's like, I'm gonna kill him. But she's really talking about her ex. But she wasn't talking about AB, but that's what everybody thought she was talking about. So he goes, and so they both walk back into the room. No, he walks out. He sees her run out of the room, okay? That's after he left the staff thing. He walks back in the room. AB, dead on the floor. How was that possible? We don't know. But what she said was she never saw the engineer again. So they're just whodunit, blaming each other. And then Cordelia but she brings all the suspects that she thinks, not suspects, but people that she finds interesting. Brings them all into a room, and she is like, okay, all of these paintings were flipped around. That painting was in the red room. This painting was in the yellow oval room, and these paintings have been flipped around. That painting right there on the wall has specifically, it's big and it's covering something. So everybody's placing the blame on others, and especially the butlers, because they're like, the president's husband called us and he told us to be here at this time, blah blah blah, and the president's husband's like, the fuck I didn't. And she's like, yes you did, you called at this time. And then Cordelia's like, this isn't the first time that you've lied about making a call. And he's like, I really did not make a goddamn call. That was not me. And then here goes Lily. And earlier on, okay. Yes, and then here goes Lily. And Lily is over here like, okay, well, I didn't want to snitch them out or anything, but it was the plumber and the maid, the two that are in a relationship, and then they're both like, no the fuck it wasn't. And then here's Lily putting on her class actress shit, and she's like, oh, I just feel so bad. I felt so bad for both of them because she's a mother and she has a daughter and blah 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 blah, but I saw them kill AB and X, Y, and Z and yada yada yada. Here's the thing, AB always has a conversation behind closed doors. So how would you see AB arguing with the maid in if AB was behind a closed door. There's 3 doors. There's 2 doors. There's 1, 2. But there's a secret door, the pop-in door, on the wall. Okay. So then she just starts tearing up, and then the engineer and the plumber are like, no, the fuck we did it. No, the fuck we did it. What are you talking about? No, the maid and the plumber. Because here's the thing, there was a clock. There's a clock on every mantle in the White House. Even a drunk woman could tell you precisely what time she was and where, when she was there, like what time. And there was not a clock on that mantle, but there was a clock there previously. It was a big one. So what we found out was that. So Cordelia grabs a knife out of her thing, looks at the president, goes, "I'm so sorry for this." Turns around, cuts open his wall, because she found out that there was a door there, and she figured because she saw the door there, she went through that door at some point. No, I don't think so. I think she just noticed that there must have been a door there. I don't really remember, but she opens it, she goes through it, she finds this little pop-in shelf, she opens it, and she's like, here's the clock with the blood, it's cracked. She puts it back on the mantle. She's like, Lily starts boo-hooing, talking about, oh, blah, 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 I felt so bad for them. And then she's like, really? Because. But then, basically, who done it? Lily did it. Yeah, Lily, the entire time. She did it, because she. AB was going to expose her for fraud, taking money from the government. And she's like, okay, well, I'm already rich, so it doesn't matter. So she, 1, gets put in jail, 2, she gets fired. So she's not rich anymore, because the money that she got was stolen money. And AB knew that. He wrote it down in this journal, which also was a missed part, but this is almost 30 minutes long, and I'm not doing all that. So, anyways, Lily done it, and she figured out that Lily did it because, I don't know, actually, but Lily did it. That's really all I have to say. The rest of this is